Right, and on to the final game of the game week. Man City 3, and your lot, Tottenham Hotspur, that is 3. You were there?
I was.
Verdict?
Just. Plane, trains and automobiles yesterday, just without the planes. Verdict, very proud from the Tottenham perspective, obviously, because, listen, let's be very real. City could have easily been 4 or 5-1 up at half-time. There was some, there was some laughable moments. I mean, the Doku effort when he hits the bar and post in the one shot. My dad looked at me and I looked at him. We both just burst out laughing. It was like, we're getting away with it at the moment, but we know what's coming. He's on the second goal is so poor from us defensively. I think they try and play offside inside the penalty box, and Ben Davies doesn't quite get the telegram message and goes in deeper, and it's a mess. But City can do that to you. And City offensively were good. I thought they were great in that first half, City.
Did you say specifically defensively?
No, offensively. Oh, okay. Purely because I've had a feeling for a long time that of the top teams, they are, for me, they're easier to play against than you.
Yeah, I agree with that, which I never thought
what I mean by that is it's not easier playing Arsenal than Manchester City necessarily, but I mean in terms of how you play through teams. And your ability. Like, my dad said to me even half hour in, he's like, when we get in the other end, it's like we can hurt them. I'm like, yeah, because they're vulnerable. Their press, though, I thought it was so good. Yeah. The way they press. And it's interesting, the two best teams in this league, yourselves and City, I thought pressed fantastically well in the games against Tottenham. They were so aggressive. It did help that you've got Emerson Royal labouring, and I know he's got a bit of stick for the way he played yesterday. City just absolutely targeted him every time he had the ball.
Was he the one that gave it
defensively
away?
Is fine.
For Foden's goal? Or I can't remember specifically.
I don't think it was. Okay. I can't remember. There's so much happened. I can't remember, to be honest. I think probably Romero comes in for him.
Okay.
Because I think for Ange, first and foremost, is about what you do with the ball. And Ben Davies' distribution at times, even yesterday, was pretty good. Like he can be patient and find a pass that is line breaking. Emerson Royal can keep it. He can't play a line breaking pass, right? Romero obviously can as well. So I think Romero comes in. I wouldn't be diving into Davies, by the way. And I know a few are going to probably ask that because he is dirt cheap. Find the extra for the two wing backs. He's absolutely the advice on that. And for me, it's definitely Porro over Udogie. That hole, I don't know when it's coming, but it's coming. And it was never likely to be yesterday, right?
My prediction is Forest away, that hole.
I don't think I'm going to be able to get to him. And it's been bothering me pretty much every week since the week after I bought Udogie, basically. It's been bothering me every week since game week 4, actually, to be precise. I've been like, oh my God, I've got to get him, and just never been able to get there. And with Romero back, we will be better defensively. Yeah. We will also be better offensively with Romero back. That will have a big, big difference, because City were trying to shunt it all game long into the Emerson side, right? Now, that's not so easy. Teams might do it to Davis, and they might actually find that Ben Davis' distribution is better than what they think. So I think Davis gets the nod from that perspective. I would imagine Richarlison will probably, with a few days training, probably come in for Hill. Kulusevski in that 8 role probably sticks. He's the only player to score an assist in the same game at the Etihad against the Guardiola team.
Ever?
Yeah.
He's the only
player to do it in 2 different
someone
goal and assist against Guardiola at the Etihad. Yeah, okay. And the other time he played there, he scored as well. No assist. It's weird how some players and teams, he won't score for 2-3 months probably. I still think he just puts his head in and closes his eyes.
You did say that,
yeah. I do, yeah.
And it kind of Simicast-esque.
It looks like it comes off his shoulder a bit. Like, we was quite high behind the goal near the corner flag.
Were you safe from the limbs?
Was I safe from limbs? Yeah. Was everyone else safe from me?
Have you got any broken bones?
It was everyone else safe from me. No. My knuckle still hurts from when Decky scored against Sheffield United, and I'm not joking. No, it was good, obviously. But it was a shock when it hit the net.
Yeah. You got that vibe from the crowd as well.
It was like a weird... The ball took a weird spin. And then when it hit the bar, like you hit it at the bar, and it almost was like... It's going to come out. Yeah, from our angle. And I think it might have sounded like we celebrated a bit late. There was also shock, right?
Yeah.
So very proud of the way we played in the second half. I think we had about 56% of the ball in the second half. And I know City are winning and game state matters and stuff. That is still some going. And it was interesting that I looked at the clock and there was 60 minutes gone. And I was thinking how I felt against City to how I felt against Villa.
So 60 minutes, the score was 2-1.
City winning 2-1, and I think Villa must have been 2-1 up by that stage as well, or near enough abouts.
And how did you feel?
But I remembered, my exact feeling was I felt way more confident getting a result yesterday than I did against Villa.
Wow.
Now, I don't know if that's how we'd started playing in the second half. And I think against Villa, we fatigued massively. I spoke last week about basically only Kulusevski and Porro looked like the only two players that had anything left in the tank.
Sure.
And I've been critical of Brennan Johnson, particularly recently. Like, it's his run at the end that assists the goal. I thought his work ethic was absolutely great. Yes, he much better. I think there's a lot for him to improve, but much, much better. When you play him over the top, you ain't catching him.
Yeah,
he's
is rapid.
Oh, he really is. There's a lot to improve for him to be a top-level player, but rapid. So I think Kulusevski in that 8 position might stick. I know a few people are going to kind of ask about Lo Celso now.
Did you say, is he a fantasy option there in the
Kulusevski?
Yeah.
I think what they'll probably do against West Ham is I think they'll probably play Richarlison on the left, move Johnson back to the right, and just play Kulusevski in that role. You look at the two games and you'd arguably say maybe yes, but I think with him it would only be a short term.
Yeah.
And I guess for wild cards you could look at it, but I don't think I'd make the case to pay for him over Johnson. I don't think.
Sure.
Not worth the extra, I think. And I would still rather go to people like Gordon, I think.
Okay.
A few people may want to know about Lo Celso.
Yeah, my mate's actually gone on him. He's got 2 returns from him.
I did tweet a couple of weeks ago, keep your eye on it.
Yeah.
Because he's 4.8 or something, I think.
I'm not sure I can
he's
find out for you.
He's so cheap. But that's less of an option. I think even despite the fact he scored in the last two, they're both long-range efforts from the edge of the box. The goal is beautiful, obviously, yesterday.
You're right, he's 4.8.
But he's obviously dropping very, very short and linking the play. Completed every pass yesterday, 100%, 40. Wow. That at the Etihad is, particularly the way they pressed, that is mad impressive. There was a lot of frustration around me about, I'm holding on to the ball too long. And that's because the rest of the team's quite quick. Mm-hmm. What you understand is he's the one with the intelligence on the ball. He's not Maddison, so you just got to accept him for what he is. They weren't fucking moaning when he scored, by the way. They stopped completely. It was singing his name straight afterwards. For City, it's now a few draws when they've been winning in big games. Tottenham, Liverpool, Chelsea. And I think it may get sorted quite quickly, actually. I think we've made a lot about Rodri, and Rodri is going to be a miss on Wednesday.
Yep.
And that's why I think they may well get beat at Villa. John Stones being back will be monster for Manchester City.
When is he due back? Do you know?
Well, he's been subbed the last few games, he is back, but obviously not to the extent that they think they can obviously start him in a game that's going to be high intensity like that. Could they play him in midfield against Villa? It'd be a big risk. They might. I mean, that's the best solution to not playing Rodri. He is unbelievable, by the way.
He's so good, yeah.
He's a joke footballer. You appreciate that so more when you watch someone like that live in terms of his awareness, his positioning. What a top player.
Ability as well.
It was interesting when Foden got taken off, by the way. It wasn't a lot, and I don't know if it was audible on the TV, but there were a few boos.
Okay.
That Guardiola brought on Lewis rather than Foden. And because at that stage, obviously, it was
a few minutes after the goal, yeah.
And it did, on the face of it, it did appear strange. Suddenly, they went up a notch with Lewis. What a talent he's going to be as well. I think, is he part of City's best 11 at the moment? No. Foden, of course, by the way, with this Doku injury, and this applies to Alvarez as well, he's going to keep playing. Mm. So, I mean, Foden and Alvarez, with Grealish suspended, and we don't know the Doku prognosis at the moment, there's certainty is to play at Villa. So, like, for me as an Alvarez owner, I'm not moving that at the moment.
Would you consider, like, just assess the Villa game and then a 2-week punt before the blank? Luton
for a Foden.
On a Foden or someone?
I'd love that. For those who want a free hit in game week 18, I think that sort of thing should be right near the top of your consideration.
Like yourself who are going to wild card in 19, right?
Yeah, but if you're free hitting in 18, then you have an awareness of afterwards and not just before, right? So if someone like me who's dead ending into 18, I don't need to think about beyond. Whereas if you're, say, free hitting in 18, you can obviously load up on City for the brilliant 16, 17, 19, 20 fixtures. Even if the double doesn't happen, it's a phenomenal run of games. Now, if Doku's out for a sustained period, then the probability of, is quite simple, the probability of Foden and Alvarez getting more minutes has just gone up, right?
Yeah.
Now, could they use Rico Lewis as a 10? You betcha. Yes, they could, by the way, particularly in some of the more straightforward fixtures.
But they will, though?
I definitely think he could. I think Guardiola thinks that's what he is,
Really?
Yeah, in the long term, yeah. I think he does.
Okay.
I think that's what he sees him as, rather than a fullback. I think he sees him as someone who eventually, and we have to remember how young he is, someone eventually who will play in a higher position. I think defensively, though, I wouldn't go buying him, by the way. I think defensively, they're a complete ignore till John Stones is fit. And I also think there'd be a complete ignore just generally anyway, unless John Stones is fit. And that's the one I'd want. At Manchester City, if John Stones doesn't start, and I think he probably doesn't, without Rodri as well, and Grealish's control, and Doku's ball carrying, he's going to have some real difficulty on Wednesday night. Just a quick one for free hitting, because I think there's a few teams that stand out a little bit more if you are. City's 1, right? So if I look at my fixture difficulty, 15 to 22, without the game week 18 fixtures, City are miles clear. Chelsea's good anyway, we know that. Wolves, who play Chelsea in 18, it looks even better for them, good run. Arsenal, because you go to Liverpool, looks like a really good run. So if you wanted to go that double defensive for Arsenal, for example, I don't want to see it at Anfield. But if you're free hitting 18, you don't have to, right? Yeah. Liverpool as well, because obviously they play Arsenal. Brighton, not bad. Brentford, obviously, as well. But they're the real ones. If you're free hitting 18, I think you should be working towards treble Man City. And I think at the moment it's probably treble offensively.
Yeah, okay. And did you captain Haaland in this week?
Yes.
Yeah. He obviously missed a sitter, didn't he?
Yes. I mean, he's tweeted WTF.
I've seen that.
What
do you think's going to happen?
Well, that was my reaction to the misses. I mean, the one that he missed when Bernardo put on a plate from him.
That's the one I was talking about, yeah.
Staggering.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it.
It's staggering for him, by the way.
Yeah.
Most good footballers should score.
But
with
there was
him,
a defender there.
Yeah, but with him, you don't think for a second he's gonna miss.
He just kind of dragged it a bit, didn't he?
Yeah, a little bit. I think, as I said earlier, I think his reaction is way over the top at the end of the game, in terms of, like, his teammates would be looking at that and going,
what do you make of the refereeing decision to, how he refereed that?
No, I actually think
Grealish running in.
Yeah,
the final
should
minute
City have had a penalty for a shirt pull? I've heard some rumours about that. I've not seen the incident at all.
I've not seen it, to be honest.
But I'd heard that. But as it wasn't shown on the Match of the Day highlights, I'm guessing probably not. Mind you, there was a lot to show from the game, admittedly, I get that. Yeah, the cock up with the through ball is really bad. I quite like him as a referee, Hoop. I'd said that I thought he was the most improved referee in the league last year. He'll get, unfortunately, by association, the Diaz goal.
Yeah.
He was the referee, but it ain't his fault. No. He wasn't working in the VAR room. He's literally got nothing to do with that. Yesterday, that is a huge, huge error.
What do you think he was thinking?
I can only think that he thinks that the ball's gone to Porro. Like he just
misjudged it.
He's seen some sort of illusion, I think. No, I think genuinely, because you can't explain it. Because he goes to blow, because Haaland gets wiped out, right? It's definite yellow card from Emerson Royal. Haaland gets wiped out, so he's also heading back towards goal. Because this man is such a beast, right? It's like he slides off the turf and bounces back up in one movement, and he's off. And he's got it, and he actually takes the whistle away from his mouth. Then Haaland plays the pass like a Bergkamp-esque through ball. And maybe there was the shock. He was like, Haaland's tried to play a ball over 20 yards. That's a bit uncommon. I just think he must have thought that Grealish wasn't getting it, which it's always easy for us with the perspective. You're on the ground.
Yeah.
For me, it's the biggest bugbearer, though, who don't play advantage, is nothing pisses a football fan off more. Mm-hmm. It really pisses me off.
Same.
And when it happened at the time, literally, I'm standing going, oh, wow. Like, you can't do that.
Yeah.
Obviously, it benefited my team. What I would add, though, is two things.
Yeah, go on.
One, I think Emerson Royal would have got him
I've seen a few people saying that, yeah.
I think we'd have got him.
You can't say for fact,
I
but
think we'd have got him. Because it's not like a direct one-on-one where it's only one player chasing him. He couldn't, what you'd want to do is run across the player, but there's another 2 players either side as well, so you couldn't do that, because then you'd run into one of them. So I think he'd have got. If he didn't, there's also no guarantee he would have scored.
Yeah.
Like there's not a high XG in that moment. And actually, even if you look, Emerson Royal, literally, he completely stops. Is it a monumental error? Am I like condoning it? No, whatever. And I think it's a shame, because I actually think he's one of the most improved referees, but he's a mad error. He's seen something there. He must think that Grealish is not getting the ball. That's what I'm saying. He must see something. There's no reason why you do it.
I've seen. I want your opinion on. I've seen a few people asking, "Do you think Haaland could get like retrospectively done for his reaction and stuff?"
It's a possibility.
Yeah,
it's a possibility.
I don't really know what the rules are on stuff like that with players.
I don't know. To be honest, one of our patrons asked this morning. I said, "Well, look, he was booked on the pitch for his reaction." Which I think was right from my take, miles away in the ground. I say miles away, it's closer than Suj would normally be at West Ham, obviously. But he looked like he coming quite aggressively, so you're going to get booked. So then he gets dealt with on the pitch. After the game, I don't think he's under any responsibility to have to shake the referee's hand or...
No.
And to be honest, if he went in the same manner again, like referees have the power to book after the game and do a second yellow or do a straight red. We've obviously seen a case recently with Lewis Dunk. Spoke out of turn again, got sent off, right? So it's not something that like never happens. Yeah, he was just auditioning for his Chelsea move, right? Because he knows they hate Anthony Taylor. We don't know if something could have got said in the tunnel afterwards in terms of a report like that. On the tweet, like I don't know how he can get done for typing WTF.
No. But is it not... Yeah, I don't know. It's the whole thing about speaking out against...
Yeah, people know what it means, but like...
He's not directly...
No, he's not... You know, for kids looking at Twitter or whatever, like... Okay, if you already know what WTF means, then Erling Haaland tweeting it is not gonna...
Yeah.
And he's not actually said, WTF to the referee. He's just tweeted WTF. So I don't know how you could put it on him and say... We know that's the intention.
Yeah.
But you can't. No, you can't. It'll be like the 115 charges, right? You have to prove what's happened against Manchester City. So I think he probably wouldn't. That said, I think it's more about whatever happened on the pitch and maybe in the tunnel afterwards. If they want to give him a proper charge, then there's every chance he does look at a suspension. If he gets suspended, and I'm aware of it ahead of a deadline, then it's bye-bye, see you later.
Yeah.
For me, it would be too short term where I'd just have to go, be quite straightforward, just be Watkins back and Salah in, I think.
Yeah.
For me.